Okay.
All right, go ahead.
I, Mark Johnson, call this meeting to order at 5:32. Roll call, please. All are present.
Aye.
Aye. Leslie Jones.
Leslie
is here.
Jones.
Mark Johnson here. And Evelyn Gleason.
All right. So we are here to talk about the handbook recommendations for the 2017-2018 school year.
Okay.
Okay. And so we'll just go in order. All right. First one is we're recommending a change to number 7 under disciplinary measures. Currently, number 7 kind of limits, even though it doesn't necessarily represent our practice. Our practice is that we contact juvenile authorities pretty much whenever there's a need. There's a lot of coordination that takes place between us and the police department for a variety of different reasons, not just for illegal drugs or alcohol or weapons. So what we're asking to have changed is just that it read, notifying juvenile authorities or other law enforcement whenever necessary. I can make it larger.
Can you? Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, because I can't see a thing without my glasses.
Oh, okay.
Okay, right there. So you see what
Is
number
there a dimmer or
see what
one
number
by
7 currently reads. You guys have any questions about any
You
of
want
these?
to come sit up here?
Yeah, we can do
She
that.
wants the lights off.
Or I can see it better, but let's see, I don't know, just let's see.
Dimmer, but I can turn the lights up.
Oh, yeah, I can see him. Okay, there we go. Okay, this one. Yes.
Changing 7.
Yeah, so we're asking to
Making it
change
more
7.
generic.
Notifying juvenile authorities or other law enforcement whenever the conduct involves.
So on Tuesday of next week, I got to read what we recommend, right?
Well, what I'll do, Mark, is when this committee's over, I'll summarize the notes,
Okay.
and then you'll have to read the summary notes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay? Any questions? We're good to go on that one?
Necessary.
All good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Second is regarding cell phones, not necessarily a substantive change, but kind of clears it up a little bit better. Currently, in the existing handbook, it reads, can be used in the classroom only with teacher permission.
Okay.
And so what we're recommending is cell phones and other electronic devices cannot be used in the classroom unless permission from the classroom teacher.
Maybe it's
So-
a teacher one.
Yeah, well, the big issue was making sure that our teachers, our faculty understood that they had the autonomy to either allow or not allow within their classroom. So this just clarifies that, makes it clearer.
Very good.
Okay?
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Number 3 pertains to dress standards. Under E, existing, talks about coats and hats. And what we're recommending is that the last sentence be removed. If you recall from our youth and leadership meetings with the students, their biggest issue was that it felt like they were being attacked when they first walked in the building if they had a hat on and they had multiple
right.
things in their hands
Yeah.
and things like that. And the language that was in there before was kind of, in my opinion and in the opinion of the people who were making this recommendation, was a little pimpy,
Yeah.
where it says, hey, hat shall be removed immediately, and you can only put them on when you get to the exit. And
The kids said the security guards were, because that's what the policy said, they were
Right.
on them as soon as they hit
Right.
the door.
Right. And the reality of what takes place, especially after school, is kids really aren't badgered too much when they're wearing their hats walking out of the building, regardless of when they put them on. Yes, sometimes our students are badgered a little bit when they first walk in the building with their hat on, but I think by eliminating that last sentence, it clarifies what our expectations are. Yeah, you can't wear them in the building, but we're also not going to give you authority or the ability to just badger a kid whenever you feel like it.
So it says students are not to have coats and hats in their possession during school hours. All outerwear, including but not limited to gloves, hats, scarves, etc., are to be kept in the student locker. Hats are not to be worn while inside the building.
Yeah. So the only change is to remove this piece, and that's what the students expressed and wanted for us. So.
But I mean, I'm just thinking they still gonna take it as their interpretation is gonna still be hats are not to be worn in the building. You're in the building, get that off your head.
Yeah, and I think that's where we need to do a better job in the administrative end, making sure that the people who have to manage these policies and procedures is that they understand that they also need to do it with some common sense.
Because when the changes are made, does this go, I mean, it's got to be reviewed, we approve it, but then it goes into the buildings and
It goes, yeah,
They
so what
meet with
happens,
people
right,
or-
yep, exactly. So what happens is, these changes will be put in for the next school year,
Mhm.
and the deans and the administration then review the changes with students and staff.
Okay.
What about, do we have it defined what, hats and things cannot be worn? Because I know,
No
unless
hats.
it's for, how about the thing for religious, unless it's for religious purposes?
I don't know, Leslie, if in our dress standards it says that. I don't know if it does or not. I don't think it does, but
I know that there's common sense, but then there's
Yeah.
people that don't, that want to interpret it a certain way. So I want to make sure that
I'll check for you.
that was covered.
I'll check. I understand what you're saying, so for religious purposes.
Religious purposes or something like that. They have to have it covered. Then it's okay. I think we already have pretty good. I haven't heard anybody really say anything, but I just wanted to make sure it was taken care of.
I'll let you know.
Hey, Debbie, we are on, just talking about the last sentence. That shall be removed immediately upon entry to the building. Now that's where it is now. Now we want to just take that last sentence off, and the kids can wear it in the building, stay locker, and then put it in their locker. So when they enter the building.
So you're going to say
We're just taking that sentence off.
Just removing this last
Just
sentence.
immediately.
Recommendation.
But
So when a security guard sees somebody entering the building, he's not going to scream at the kid, tell them they got to remove the hats immediately. But sometime during the first period, before first period, probably when we want them to have it in their locker.
well, it can, with just leaving it as hats are not to be worn while inside the building.
that's what I was saying just now.
Yeah, still
says
leaves it
still
open. So
leaves-
you're in the building, take
in the
it
building.
off.
Yeah,
Well,
that's-
But it says during
that's-
school hours, which, I mean, if you're just arriving at school, classes aren't in session, so you could.
Yeah.
that's the same thing I saw. I was like, they still could say,
Well, how would you
you're in the
think it
building,
should
take
be?
it off.
Well, I think that's where we need to do a better job administratively
To talk to the security
to
guard.
talk to the staff.
Exactly.
So the expectation still is that hats aren't allowed in the building, but we also need to use some discretion depending on when the kid's coming in, what he's carrying, what's going on. So that's where we got to get better.
Yeah, I'm thinking even. I know most of them the other night were talking about being able to wear hats, but but some of them did bring a valid point. Some kids might have anemia or something. They need to stay warm for a certain period of time till they at least get to their locker.
Right.
Well, that's what
I'm
we're
just
saying.
thinking the different.
Yeah, and I think this allows for that.
Yeah.
And they did want to be allowed, like that one kid was saying, he got accepted at his college. He wanted to be able to show that off. But that's something the school can handle on a certain day.
Spirit day, like a spirit
Yeah.
day.
Right.
Yeah, like where you in the college. I mean, the high schools do have those spirit days where they can wear special paraphernalia.
Mm-hmm.
Good on that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Currently, this one's going to take some time to explain, and I'm going to make it a little smaller, Leslie, so you can actually read the whole thing.
Oh,
Can you
sorry.
read it?
I can't see a thing, but I left my glasses in the car, so
Sorry, well.
You want us to take a break and you go get them?
it's okay. I mean,
I made it a little bigger.
okay, there we go. I can see.
So, we have, over the last number of years, eliminated from our handbook prescribed consequences for things. What I mean by that is, if you do this, this is what you get. Because what we've learned is that in many ways, in many cases, what the kid did is subjective in nature. In many ways, what the kid did, what we want to give them a consequence for, or how we want to consequence them, is based upon that particular kid and what is going to motivate them and what's going to make them change their behavior. The only remaining thing that's currently in our handbook that prescribes a disciplinary consequence is with regards to academic dishonesty. So if a kid cheats, basically is what this is. If a kid cheats, it prescribes you must do this the first time, and then the second time you must do this. And the second time, and it's cumulative in the kid's time in high school. So a kid could be caught his freshman year cheating on a 5-question math homework assignment where he grabs it from somebody and quickly writes it down because he didn't do it himself, and then he gets a 0 on that assignment. Well, 3-4 years down the road, as a senior, that same thing may happen, and that student then is automatically failed for a quarter. So there's a couple of things going on here. First of all, we want to get away from prescribed consequences for infractions, and secondly, we believe this is a little harsh. And I guess here's the third thing. We are not very good at keeping track of this, because what happens is, if a kid actually does cheat in a teacher's classroom, they handle it. They deal with it based upon their particular rules and expectations, which is exactly where we want this to be. We don't want this to be a situation where a kid gets an academic consequence and then also a behavioral consequence. It's an academic issue. The punishment, I guess, is what I'm saying, should fit the crime. If you've done something academically wrong, the consequence should be in your academics, not an additional suspension or referral, et cetera, et cetera. So what we're recommending is that this whole piece in here be removed from the handbook, and that it be handled. So here's the second part of that. And you can see where it talks about the student gets a 59 as long as the work for the remainder of the quarter remains passed. So they automatically flunk a quarter, et cetera, et cetera. So does this mean that we're not going to address students who cheat? No. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're absolutely going to be addressing when a student cheats, but that the address of that should be based upon what the kid did, how egregious the cheating was, whether or not we can actually prove that it was cheating as opposed to it being subjective, and then that there would be a consequence that is figured out with the teacher, the administrator, and that student based upon that particular assignment.
What would be an example of egregious cheating?
Maybe where they copied a final exam and then submitted it across social media lines, something like that.
Wow, yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Took a picture of it and Snapchatted it, or I think that would be pretty egregious. Again, what this does, it backs us into a corner, and we currently aren't doing a very good job. It's very difficult for us to monitor, because some teachers will report it, some teachers won't report it. And so, it's not that we want to eliminate consequences for cheating, it's that we want to deal with it much like we've done with all the other infractions, which is base it on what the kid did and the needs of that particular kid.
The E means what?
That's failing.
Fail. Okay.
I think I would feel better if it just said pretty much that, Dan. Academic dishonesty will be handled by the classroom teacher in coordination with the administration. Instead of, because I think people are, my fear
They're gonna
is
say we're
people are
not
going to
gonna
look
do
at this
anything.
and say, you don't care about academic dishonesty.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Actually, that was very well stated.
It is sad though that, you know, you can have one kid, like you said, cheats once freshman year, not again until senior year, but then there's other kids who are going to
Cheat every day and get away with it.
every class of the day, and if they're not keeping, clearly that kid needs some support. So if no one's keeping track of it, though, that kid's not going to get the support.
Well, and I think what Evelyn just said there is a great recommendation, and I think we should add that, is that academic dishonesty will be handled by the classroom teacher in coordination with the administration. And then it still goes logged. It still goes
Right.
logged in the kid's log, and then you have that example over time that you can refer back to.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And this is,
Perfectly
but this is so.
You know, I think that's a great,
It's-
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right. The people may perceive this as we just don't care about cheating.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So you guys good with that?
With
Piece?
the revision.
With that revision?
Yeah.
Revision.
Okay, cool. Right. And then the last one here, this is under our athletics and activities section of our handbook. And it talks about participation rules in extracurricular activities. And it requires a few things. So it says there that students are required to be in their school the entire day in order to participate in after-school activities, contests, practices, etc. This requirement applies to Friday attendance for Saturday participation. Only for the following reasons are acceptable exemptions: doctors, dentist appointments, funerals, court dates. What we're recommending is to add a D, other reasons as approved by the administration. The example
Can't list them all.
the example that was provided for this was there was a student who had a single parent. That single parent had to go and attend, I don't know if it was a court date or a funeral, but they had a younger sibling and there was nobody to take care of that younger sibling for an hour. And that parent actually called that student out to go and watch that younger sibling, and the administration, rightfully so, allowed that kid to continue to participate. They were only gone for an hour, but it didn't necessarily meet one of the 3 criteria.
Oh, okay.
So what we would like to add is other reasons as approved by administration, if that makes sense.
Right.
Students are
To,
required.
you have to make it lowercase to match all the rest of them.
Yeah. Yep.
For Saturday participation, only the following reasons are.
Any questions about that one? All right. That's it. Easy peasy, Jeff, but easy. So, Mark, what I will do is I'll summarize all that for you.
Sure.
and then-
And, okay.
Okay. Any announcements? Next meeting, PBA. Good to adjourn?
Good. Meeting adjourned at 5:50 p.m.